okay. We shall see. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jen and this is Jen Restyle and Fashion. Yes, you guys, I am wearing a hat today because last night I washed, conditioned, and moisturized my hair, and then I braided it, and I want to have that full look. So for later. So I'm just keeping the hat on, and I wanted to go ahead and record this part of the video so that you guys had a proper intro. So welcome. If you have not yet subscribed, then come on, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button below, click on that bell so that you don't miss an episode. So today's episode is an oldie but goodie restyled. I mentioned that I wanted to do something like this when I did the last video, which I will link below, and I'll actually put a card right here so that you guys can, or up there, so that you guys can click that video. But I wanted to do something a little bit different, and I hope this is going to turn out. I have not done it yet. I literally just filmed myself in the jeans and the corduroys. And now we're going to combine that, and we're going to upcycle jeans and corduroy to create a skirt. And so I'm going to show you both pieces, and then I'm going to model them for you. Let me just, oh, couldn't see my little girl. So these are the two pairs that I'm using to upcycle, and I love this yellowish, it's kind of a mustard color. They're so good. These are by J. Crew. They were brand new with tags. This particular pair was $80, $79.50. And I picked these up. I think I picked these up when I was in Nashville. Anyway, they're a skinny leg, which is not a problem because we're only going to be using the back and then the excess fabric that's left over. These jeans, these are DKNY, and I hope these are going to work out because right now they're feeling kind of heavy and these are feeling really lightweight. I may have to go back to the drawing board, but we'll see. I'll let you know if that happens. Anyway, we're going to use these DKNY jeans, and we're only using the front of them because we're going to split them open, and we're going to do another upcycle, which I think you guys are really going to like, and I hope this will give you guys some ideas if you want to do this on your own. All right, you guys, let's go. So like before, we're going to start with the jeans. This is going to be the front part of the skirt, and I haven't decided how long I want the skirt to be yet, but we shall see. All right, so I also want to keep this flat fell seam. I really like that. I'll just give you a close-up. I really like this, so I want to keep this as part of it. And we're gonna make this so that it overlaps like that. We're gonna bring it so that it fits a little more narrow. We're gonna start at the bottom where the hem is, and I'm going to cut right on the inside of that flat fell seam, or I'm sorry, right on the outside of that flat fell seam. And see. All right. Now, since I'm only going to use the front part of these jeans, and I have to connect the corduroy to the front, I need to give myself a little extra. I'm going to cut the jeans on the outside of the outside seam, because here I'm going to stitch, that's where I'm going to stitch the corduroy, or I'm going to stitch the corduroy on top. So I got some decisions to make. So rather than be safe than sorry, I am going to cut here just on the outside of the seam. As you can see, right here is the pocket. There is a rivet rather next to the pocket. Obviously I can't sew over that, but I do want my stitch when I connect that corduroy, I do want it to sit nice and close there. So let's just go ahead and give myself a little extra on the outside. The back of the jeans we are tossing to the side. Now we're going to focus on this front here. You guys will remember this from the last video. Right here in the center, we're going to clip just on the inside. I'm not going to clip all the way up to the zipper, but I'm going to clip as close, like halfway, because we're going to overlap this front. I want to make sure that this lays nice and flat, and right now I'm still getting a little bit of a bump there, so I'm going to clip it a little bit more and fold it over, and now I feel like it's laying nice and flat. And then I'm just going to pin that where that is. So I'm going to put this to the side, and now we're going to go with these. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to go right up against the seam, and I'm going to just cut. All right, so this time I'm focusing on the back. With the back, it's a little different. We still want to overlap. I'm going to have to cut this the same way because these corduroys also have the little rivet, and we can't sew over that. So I'll lay this leg out, and I will cut just inside the seam. Right here where we have another seam, let's zoom into it a little bit so you can see. There we go. I'm going to cut right next to it because we want to make sure this lays flat. So I'm going to cut a little ways up because I know it's going to take a bit to make this lay flat. This is the back part is the hardest part to get to lay flat. The front is a little more easy, but remember in the back we have a little bit of a curve, and so that's more fabric back there. So even when I lay this over, I still have a little buckle. So I'm going to go a little bit further, cut really nice and close to that seam, and now lay that other leg nice and flat and lay that on top. Take your time during this process, depending on how large the jeans are, if they're women's jeans or men's jeans. The back part of the jeans or pants or corduroys, whatever you decide to use, each one of them is going to be different. So for this pair of corduroy pants, because they're women's and they were straight leg and they were more of a kind of curvy fit, you had more of a curve in the back. So I had to make more adjustments and manipulation when it came to making the back lay flat. This is what we're doing. This is what I love, that look, y'all. First, because these pants are determining the length of the skirt because they're shorter. So let's open this up nice and flat. Make sure all here. Make sure this matches and that we can actually fit it in there without a problem. I think we could go right here and be right where we need it to be. All right, so there's a little hem in the pants, in the corduroys, that I'm gonna take out, so that should get me right about here. So I'm gonna cut a little lower because I'm gonna press this out. I like the idea of the raw edge at the bottom, and by the time I get in here and get that out, that's gonna bring me here and probably like right here. So let's do this. Let's pin it first. All right, we are here at the sewing machine. Today I'm going to be using my Opal, you don't see that, my Opal 690, because I am using this thread, this Gutermann thread, and it doesn't work well in my industrial machine. So I'm going to start with the back. I'll just open this up, and we're going to stitch down this back side here. I'm gonna bring you guys up. Hang on. All right, I hope that's a little better. I'm trying to give you guys the best view possible. So I'm going in and I'm going to stitch right on top of the already, the stitch that's in there already. And remember, I told you I had to kind of maneuver a little bit because this back part of these pants are more rounded than the jeans. My machine does an automatic reinforcing stitch, and I'm just going to stay right in the stitch area that's already there, making sure that I'm catching the fabric up underneath and pulling my pins out before I get to them. I'm using the pin to kind of push that fabric up underneath there. Use my nail, and I'm going to come all the way around. I personally like unfinished edges in my Upcycles for the most part. So I don't mind that this looks a little patchy in the back. I think that it adds to the character of the garment, and I think that it is a nice design feature, and I'm here for it all. Now I lifted up the fabric to see where the additional fabric started and stopped. I eventually went in and just cut that out, and you'll see that later in the video. But I simply ran a stitch right down the back of the skirt on top of the corduroy and the denim. And you see here I went in with my seam ripper and I removed the hem because I wanted to have that raw edge at the bottom of the skirt. I am running out of bobbin thread, so we'll see how far we get before I run out. Sometimes there's a little more in there than I anticipate, and sometimes it's not. So for here, we've got some serious thickness going on up underneath, and I don't know that I can get around that. Because I definitely need to stitch there. Oh, okay, I can pull this back just a little. So in the crotch area, there are a lot of seams in there, and for obvious reasons, you know, the jeans really need to be sewn well in that space because there's a lot of tension in that area. So I'm just trying to get at least one layer out. So I'm pulling back like one layer of denim to see if that will make a little bit of a difference sewing over it. During this process, you want to take it very slow on your machine. I know most of you have regular household machines, which is what I'm using here. Ideally, industrial sewing machine would probably be better, but when you're sewing on a household machine like my Opal 690, you want to take it very slow. You don't want to break a needle. There's a lot of thickness there, so just take it easy on your machine. We're gonna put right sides together like that. This J. Crew corduroy is stretchy, so I don't know. I've got to check my waist and all of that, but I'm gonna go ahead and try this on and let you guys see what we're working with. All right, you guys, here's the skirt, and first I'm gonna put this around my waist and see how we're looking as far as the waist. I may end up putting this rivet inside the seam just because we'll see how it ends up being on this side. If it feels like the same, yeah, I might put both rivets in. I'm gonna turn this camera down so you guys can see better. All right, so let's get some pins here. As I'm pinching it together down the sides, this feels very good. I'm gonna slide my leggings off. Hopefully I don't give y'all a peep show. All right, so I've got them down. I'm gonna put a pin in here on the side. I always recommend trying things on while you're sewing. That way you can get the best fit possible. So I'm gonna go on to the sewing machine. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna sew down the sides. I'm gonna keep the little rivets here. They're gonna be in the seam allowance, so we won't even be able to see them. But I'll be able to put my hands in my pockets if I need to. I just need to even off the bottom. And again, I want a rough edge at the bottom. I don't mind it being long. All right, you guys, let's go back to the sewing machine. I'm gonna go in on this one side and just start taking it in. We're gonna see how this goes. So I'm trying to avoid this little rivet, and I do want to bring this in the waistline a little bit more, make sure I'm not sewing over anything unnecessary. All right, we are gonna come right down the side just next to this rivet and see if we can catch it right in between there. Y'all know if I hit this rivet, it's a wrap, right? All right. Got a pin in there. We're gonna take this pin out. And we're coming all the way down. What are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button below and click on that bell so that you don't miss an episode. All right, let's get back to this video. All right, so we are down on one side. Now we're flipping it over. All right, we're headed down the other side. Once I sewed my side seams and I tried it on, I wanted to have a little more room for when I was walking. So I put a side slit in the skirt. And right here, you just see me sewing on both sides of the seam. I came up maybe around 10 inches or so and just created this side slit so that I would be more comfortable while walking. All right, you guys, I just tried this on and it fits really well, but I think I want it to be a little more snug on me. So I'm actually gonna go in. So that's my original seam. I'm gonna come in here. I'm gonna come down inside the rivet, go down, and then meet up with the seam somewhere below hip. Oh, focus, there we go. Yep. So I may take this to my industrial machine. I may just, should be okay. We shall see. I've taken that in pretty significantly. Pressing is a really important part when you are upcycling, especially when you're taking apart seams, removing hems, different things like that. Because I wanted to have the raw edge at the bottom of the skirt, I seam ripped the hem out and pressed it down nice and flat. After separating the front part of the jeans, I realized that I really liked the aesthetic of having the buttons from the button fly exposed in some kind of way. So I manipulated the fabric so that it would fit perfectly in the front of the jacket. Here you see me just pinning those pieces to the front of the jacket and lining it up so that the bottom matches up evenly. The challenge here is whether or not I'm going to remove the denim. At the end of the day, I ended up not removing the denim from the jacket because I needed a pocket. I needed somewhere to put my hands, and so it was more important for me to have someplace to put my hand than to just have the bottom of the jacket be corduroy. I hope that's clear. You'll see as we go further into the video what I mean. Okay, so what I'm doing is I already placed this piece of corduroy on the jacket where I wanted it, and I just took my chalk pencil. I will link this pencil below. I love it. I'm just marking it so that I know exactly where I'm supposed to stitch, and then I'm carefully removing the pins and just replacing them up underneath. I think what I'm gonna do is hit this with the iron just so that I can have a crease so that I'll know where to sew, because I want to make sure that it's on this diagonal because that's the kind of the style that I'm looking for it. So I'm just gonna flip this over and put all these pins up underneath. I don't want to put the iron on top of these pins because they'll melt the heads. Trying to make sure I don't catch the other part of the jacket. All right, so I'm just going to go over to the ironing board, just press that down to get a good strong crease. Then I'm going to come back and show you how I sew it. And I'm going to sew, come all the way across. And I still need to take this pocket out because it's not necessary. The inside pocket, I can just stitch on top and then remove the pocket. Okay, so now we have that part of the jacket here at the bottom. So I think what I am gonna do, let's hold that in place. I think I am gonna go in and just remove this, and then I'll probably just stitch this under and lay it flat and stitch right on top. I think that'll give it a nice, because that finishes off that corner there. I think that'll give it a nice clean finish. And then I can also run a stitch along the edge here and leave this part open. It doesn't need to be closed, but this, I do want it to meet up at the bottom there. I need to make sure that that's gonna line up right there. And that's how I'm gonna finish this off. I will show you the finished product, and to take some of the bulk out of here, we're gonna do this right now while you're watching. I'm gonna stitch around the pocket. Now I'm just removing this excess piece of fabric from the outside. I realized that I don't need that. I can seam rip it and cut it off and then fold it under and stitch. So after I run the stitch around here, I'm just gonna flip this over and cut out this extra fabric on the inside. Every little bit that you can remove is really helpful to take away from the weight. So I'm just gonna cut close to the stitching, since all of this is gonna be enclosed. Okay. Now that's all we've got in there. We don't have the extra pocket. Then okay, so this is that extra fabric from the leg. I'm just gonna go in. Actually, let me just make sure that this measures up like it's supposed to. So it's a little bit of a stretch there. It's a little better here. So you see how that's not quite matching up? I feel like I need to go back in and stitch a little lower so that this can match up without having this excess fabric here. Since we're not getting rid of this, this is another reason why it makes me feel like I should get rid of it, but I'm not. If I stitch to here, it should be okay because it's just short. All right, we'll be right back. All right, so now I'm going in and cutting this off because I did go back and measure to make sure this meets up there, because we're going to go in and stitch that. I'm also thinking about leaving this end open so that I can stick my hand in here for the pocket. I'm actually thinking about opening up the other side too. Now what I am finding out is, yes, this matches up down here, but this other side, I guess it does match up too. It looks like it matches up. Okay, just wanted to make sure. So this piece we're going to stitch. I'm going to fold this under here and stitch that down. And I'm only going to stitch right below the rivet so that my hand can fit in there. We're going to stitch this under and just make sure that corner matches up. But I'm going to leave this part open. I got to figure out what's going on back here. I think I'm going to use this extra fabric and create something. I don't know, you guys. I feel like I don't know. What do we think? What do we think? I need some ideas. All right, I had this, you guys saw this butterfly from a couple years ago in a different piece. I just took some of this leftover fabric and I cut another one out. I'm gonna put that on the back of the jacket. You can do any design you want. I'm gonna take the rest of this and try to put it on the collar. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely add some denim to give this a different kind of look. Last time you guys saw it in patchwork. If I can, I will pop it up on the screen. So this will go like that. So anyway, on the collar, I want to use the rest of this and maybe like create a separate piece on the inside, and then we do, I can cut this off here. just extra. Let me do this on the collar. I mean, I think it's a good accent, you know? I think it'll be okay. After folding it over and measuring and making sure the collar was laid down perfectly, I just simply did a top stitch all the way around since I was using the exact same color thread. You can do this differently if you like, but the top stitch was just fine for me. You guys, I really love the way this jacket turned out. I love the little puffy butterfly in the back and just all the design features. I hope you'll try this out and enjoy the full look. See you next week. Bye-bye.